Part 2. Applying for grants. In this podcast, we'll be covering ARC grants available to clubs. This information will be useful for many club executives, particularly when budgeting future events, but they are usually the domain of the ARC delegate and treasurer. Your club has access to a few avenues of financial support from ARC. The most commonly used avenues are the secretarial allowance and club's grant. The amount of funding your club can receive is dependent upon the amount of ARC members in your club. For all of them to count, they must be current active members of ARC and have joined your club on OrgSync. So make sure they do that. There are 3 levels of funding. We call them bronze, silver, and gold. Bronze clubs have less than 49 ARC members. Silver clubs have between 50 and 199. And gold clubs have over 200 active ARC members. We audit your membership once every year, so you need to tell us if you have more members so we can upgrade your club status. The secretarial allowance can be used in the ARC's club's office and goes towards using our resources like printing, photocopying, laminating, and badge making. Bronze clubs have $25 per semester. Silver clubs have $100 per semester, and gold clubs have $200 per semester. You'll need your club's printing access codes when you do this, and they can be found on OrgSync. Now, for grants. There are 4 different types of grants, and the most commonly applied for is the activity grant. This grant is calculated in 2 segments. 1. 35% of total expenses up to break even. 2. $2 per ARC member who attends, up to $100. Whoa! Slow down there, cowboys and cowgirls. There are some funding limits for your club. Bronze clubs receive up to $500 per event and $1,000 for the year. Silver clubs can receive up to $1,000 per event and $2,000 for the year. And gold clubs can receive up to $1,500 per event and $4,000 for the year. But you need to upload a few things with your application for it to be successful. We are looking for proof that the ARC Clubs logo appeared on your event marketing. A photo of your event, which includes the ARC Clubs logo, be that on your club banner or an A3 size printout. A scanned or well-photographed ARC attendance form, including handwritten signatures of those who attended. An expense and income report, if money was sent or received. And the relevant receipts or invoices for your expenses. Make sure they are clear, itemized, GST inclusive, and show the ABN where applicable. The activity grant must also show that non-ARC members pay a premium of at least 10% more than what ARC members pay, and be submitted no later than 30 days after the event takes place. The other 3 grant types are for equipment, merchandise, and publications. Equipment: the purchases of durable items for a continued future use of the club, calculated at 50% of the total expense up to $500 per purchase. Merchandise: for t-shirts, hoodies, hats, etc. that are used to promote the club and its activities, calculated at 30% of total expenses up to break even. Publications: for magazines, flyers, websites, etc. calculated at 50% of total expenses up to break even. For more information about these grants, or to submit one yourself on behalf of a club, check out the Forms tab on OrgSync. You can also email grants@arc.unsw.edu.au for any further questions. If your purchase of equipment, merchandise, or publications relate to a specific event rather than for the club as a whole, these must be submitted through the activity stream. Finally, let's take a look at competitive grants. There are 2 competitive grants that clubs can access. Competitive grant applications are assessed against a set of criteria as well as judged against other applications that have been submitted. The first of these is the Student Community and Development Grant, also known as the SCDG. It is available to clubs, ARC members, and groups of ARC members, and aims to support students who seek to contribute to the UNSW community and develop graduate attributes through hosting or participating in activities on and off campus. These are the criteria against which applications are assessed. Make sure that your application addresses as many of these as are relevant, but don't waste your words on areas that aren't applicable to your application. What do we mean by wasting words? Well, each application has a limit of 3,000 words, in which you'll have to cover 4 sections under different headings. An outline of the activity. graduate attributes that will be developed, how the activity contributes to the UNSW student life, particularly with respects to campus culture, and a publicity plan. Remember, the key to success is to make everything clear and concise. Don't waffle on too much. Also remember to address each relevant graduate attribute individually and specifically. Also have a well thought out communications plan. Some questions to ask yourself include: who will you be communicating to? When? How? Multiple forms of communication or just one? If you're successful for an SCDG, you also have to submit a post-activity report. A post-activity report includes a summary of the activity, attendance numbers, actual income and expenditure, and a summary of how the application's experiences have communicated to others, and how ARC and UNSW were recognised. SCDGs are generally awarded in about 5 rounds each year. For more information about deadlines, info sessions, and how to locate the form, visit the ARC website. If you have any specific questions, come along to an info session or contact the grant staff. The second competitive grant is the club's loan scheme. This is designed as a short-term loan to enable clubs to either pay upfront costs for purchasing equipment, merchandise or publications, or pay the upfront costs of events or activities that they would not otherwise have been able to run, such as a venue deposit or catering expenses. In order to receive the grant, clubs must present a repayment plan, details of the club's financial situation, and show the value that the event or purchase will have to students and to the club. For an event, clubs can receive up to $500 to be repaid within 4 weeks. For equipment, merchandise or publication purchases, clubs can receive up to $750 to be repaid within 6 months. One final note: you can only receive one grant per event. That means you can't get a club's grant and receive a student community and development grant for the same event. If you're planning to apply for an SCDG, do that first, and we'll extend the deadline for the club's grant if your application is unsuccessful. You can, however, receive a club loan in addition to a club's grant or SCDG. However, amounts will be deducted from your grant in order to pay back the loan.